Katherine, Brian just walked us through some of the benefits. Are there any other benefits that you're hearing from clients, maybe anything we haven't touched on yet that you think is really important and that we should hear about?
I agree with a lot of what Brian said. I've heard that as around, and what you said also, Ed, around patient convenience is something that is very, very important. One of the key messages that I heard a lot about, and Brian also mentioned this in very different ways when he was highlighting some of the benefits, is the data quality. So, and how I would articulate that for people to sort of hear this maybe in a different way is think about the fact that you actually have devices that are collecting, your ECG, or you're having those devices collect those biomarker events and data in your clinical trial. So that does not require somebody to write that down or to key it into a system. And so therefore, it doesn't require someone to possibly read it and then make an error by keying something in or misreading something. And so you reduce that loss of information or that potential query or that potential error in the system. You get that information right the first time, you get it through the system. You actually don't even have to employ those resources to put that information in the system again. And you get people to focus on different activities. You get them to have spend their time in different ways. And so just the overall access to information, the quality of the information, even the volume of information in many cases, so you get different sources of information. And moving to these types of models, in some cases does require different skills. It requires you to look at information in a different way and analyze information in a different way. And we're well aware that that requires some re-engineering and some reskilling and some retraining and so forth. But the overall insights you actually get around your molecule and the disease and the condition and so forth just helps with what makes more sense and how to treat things. And so this actually brings more knowledge and brings more insight, and actually is better for everyone involved. And so the quality of the data is actually better. And so I think those benefits and the value, and when you think about the business people are in and what brings a lot of people to the industry, I think that sometimes is not as well understood, and people are intimidated by the change. But that's the thirst, and that's actually what they're after, and that is available through a lot of this as well.
Intimidation is a very big factor. And if we look quickly at the results from that last question, about half the people are saying that implementing the technology is the greatest challenge, and about 10% the cost, 10% data integration, and 20% some other concern. And I'm not too surprised at that either. For technology companies like yours, when you're talking to people and if they tell you implementation is a huge concern for me, is there more that technology companies can be doing to overcome that fear and help them through that challenge or that hurdle?
Yeah, actually, part of my job that Oracle actually put in place was to actually deal with some of that. So as global head of clinical innovation, was part of my job is to actually do research to actually find out what areas are important to focus my time and energy on, and actually to focus on developing knowledge and to increase that space. So thank you for having me here to hopefully provide some of that. But basically, I think when you talk about those challenges, some of that comes from empowering yourself with knowledge to increase your confidence, to set goals and to achieve them. And I know in our resource constraint clinical research world, that's not easy to do. And some of the challenges with dealing with technology is you have to stay current on regulations, privacy, security, technology trends. And I think you really have to rely on your technology partners to help you do that. That is not something that's easy to do, and often you don't have time to do that. And a lot of you have sort of been plunged into a world where you're now living that. And so as we go into this new world reality, we need to start developing new skills, and we need to start understanding more about how to use technology to our advantage, and getting everyone to be in a different place and to have new plans. And we should, use us to help make those plans together, like focus on sort of what the big picture is. And then we know that pharma changes leadership often. I was part of that world, and, we sort of, give ourselves different growth opportunities. And so we want to make, manageable milestones such that, you can create those opportunities and achieve those successes in manageable chunks, and help the organization grow and develop those skills together. There's nothing worse than having to take on these new capabilities and not understand them, and not understand the big picture and how it all fits together. And so now that we're getting to the place where, we got to walk away from, my proposal is walk away from sort of these point solutions and really sort of approach it more at like, this is where we're going, like what Brian was talking about, like, let's approach this more holistically. Then I think as you take those individual steps, they can fit more, they make more sense, and you can sort of see where sort of that bigger picture is going. And hopefully we can use programs like Ed's put together, or, you can have these things available to you to help expand your knowledge, and you can be provided with opportunities to experiment with things and test things. And we need to figure out how to stand those up and allow you to experience them and be exposed to them, so that you can increase your confidence and understand how these things all fit together.